All right, so now we're moving into the interview portion of tonight's show, and I have the pleasure of being joined by Leslie Palladino. She is the Director of Outreach and Harm Reduction at Impact Life. So please give it up for Leslie, everyone. All right, so first of all, thank you so much for being here. Welcome to the show. Tonight's show is really centered around the idea of celebrating safely, and given your position and your involvement with the community, I'm sure that you have a lot of great insight to offer about that. So could you start by telling us a little bit about yourself and also how you first got involved at Impact Life?
Sure. So personally, I'm just a person in long-term recovery. So I'm coming up on 14 years sober this May, which, it was a whirlwind getting there, but thank you. And so short and sweet with Impact, I was officially their first employee. So I always kind of pay homage to Dominica Persanti. She's our CEO and our founder. I really had the honor of working underneath her for the majority of my career. And anybody that knows her knows that she really has no self-doubt. And for some reason, we were just having conversations back and forth. And I'm like, we could do this. Like, you could launch this. And she's like, if you jump ship, I'll do it. And I was like, all right. So we kind of started, and really at the forefront, we wanted to just kind of continue harm reduction services, which is like risk reduction for people that are actively using, and then attack addiction had approached us, and they had a couple sober livings at the time that they had politely parted ways from the previous provider and asked if we would kind of step in. So we kind of entered the world of sober livings, and now we're almost at 90 employees and umpteenth amount of programs, and have now included youth prevention, which we really love. So in a nutshell, that's kind of how it all came to be. Yeah.
Awesome. And it's also really great to see how much your work connects younger people.
Yeah.
It's definitely something that we need nowadays. So tonight's event actually, features alcohol-free organizations like the Kickback. So can you tell us a bit about its history, like how it came to be, and also what it aims to do today?
Sure. So initially we had the Kickback. It was a mocktail event that we were holding at the Wilmington Recovery Cafe that we have in Little Italy. And we were getting a lot of feedback from young people, all age people, all spans of life, that the anxiety and kind of social awkwardness that came with new recovery was definitely slightly an issue. And we all kind of made the joke of we had these emotional support water bottles that we would kind of carry around all the time. And then when we started going into the high schools, we kind of started hearing that joke echoed amongst a lot of the teenagers. And we were like, okay, this is kind of something to look at. And a lot of the feedback that we were getting from the high school age kids was there was a lot of education around opioids and a lot of deterrent from that. Still people experimenting a little bit with alcohol, but not really. The numbers data nationwide had really plummeted, which was interesting to see. But we wanted to kind of exactly what you guys are aiming to do, trying to figure out a way that people could celebrate in a safe manner. So we launched the mocktail event. So we had a DJ that would come in. We would have essentially a bartender that would kind of do alcohol-free drinks of all these different fancy forms. We would have activities and games, and people really enjoyed it. It was one of our biggest events that we held monthly. So then when we kind of, have always had a working relationship with you guys, and when there was kind of an interest to kind of share some of those recipes with the young people, we were happy to jump at that opportunity. So.
Yeah, everything that you mentioned, it really highlights how community-centered these organizations are. So I'm also curious to know what kind of community outreach goes into building these organizations, and how do you create spaces that are fun and welcoming without relying on the use of alcohol or other substances?
So I think for us, the center of everything is creating safe spaces for all walks of life. I mean, at the forefront, we are definitely focused towards people that struggle with substance abuse, mental health of all kind of variations. But the one thing we were kind of seeing is just that need for connection and community, which I think really kind of resonates with everybody, no matter what your struggle is. So, we have hubs and cafes throughout the state, and essentially those drop-in centers are for people that are in recovery from domestic violence or, anxiety, depression. It's just a place where you can walk in at any given time and really feel at home, which is what we wanted to aim to do. I think the heaviest the phone can be is when you're picking it up to kind of ask for for help or kind of lean on somebody. So if we can eliminate some of that stress and just have open doors that people can kind of be welcome to, that was always the aim. And hopefully we're doing a good job of that. So.
All right, and I also wanted to ask, just like a personal question, like out of curiosity. Sure. So for anyone in the audience who might want to check out the kickback experience, like the full experience afterwards, do you have like a favorite mocktail that you'd like to recommend?
It's actually the strawberry lime one. That was one of the ones that I got off ChatGPT, which I have now found a new weird relationship with, finding all the things on there, but that's a separate subject. I really am like one that enjoys like a seltzer with like maybe some bitters or something in there. So that's one that I really kind of favor. And then when Delcy and I were kind of planning it out, we were like, let's just do 2 samples. But I mean, honestly, you could get creative if you kind of have a favorite flavor or a favorite fruit, mixing stuff and just kind of figuring out what makes sense for you. Yeah, that's kind of the beauty of it. It's really a freestyle is the best way to put it. Whatever kind of suits, whatever floats your boat.
Yeah, that's great to hear. So before we wrap up, I kind of just want to tie everything back to theme. So do you have one thing that you want the audience to take away about celebrating safely as we head into these holiday months?
I think the one thing that I always think about is it's a selfish decision, I guess, when you're gonna put yourself at risk. It feels great in the moment, I think, but having the inability to kind of play the full tape through of how that affects other people, whether it's getting in your car and driving under the influence, and God forbid you're in a car accident, it affects other people. But truly finding a way to like enjoy being present in the moment without the cloud is really exhilarating experience. Even like I always joke that the day after New Year's, like New Year's Day, it's like everybody's really quiet until noon because most people are hungover, but you can kind of get up and have a fresh mind and really tackle the day and tackle the year. I'm really big on kind of rituals like that and really setting a precedent. So I love being clear-headed. I've really found a love for that in sobriety, which is, I know sounds silly because that is the point, but not just being sober, but finding peace with that and being peace at what is the present at the moment.
Yeah, that's great to hear. So thank you so much.
Oh my God, thank you.
Yeah, so this was like so informative, and I'm sure that everyone now can leave this room like with a bit of a clearer idea on what safe celebration looks like thanks to you. So thank you so much. Give it up one more time for Leslie, everyone.
Thank you. Give it up for her because this is her first time and she killed it. So absolutely, give it up for her. I'm a hugger, yeah.
All right, so now I'm going to give the show back to our regular hosts.